What's going on, everybody? My name is Jason and I make posters. Today is Thursday, so I'm going to be taking a movie out of my collection and making a poster out of it. I've been racking my brain for a design style, but I just can't think of one, so I'm going to let the movie inspire me. Alright, let's head over to the randomizer and pick a movie. Alright, so I'm going to copy all my movies onto the clipboard, paste it into the randomizer, and pick a random item. Forrest Gump. Alright, fantastic movie. Let me go grab it. Alright, so here it is. I've got the Sapphire series of the Forrest Gump Blu-ray, and this is one of my favorite movies, actually. I watched it a lot when I was a kid, and just a very good movie. A lot of memories associated with this movie, and, of course, a lot of quotes. So this movie is very much driven by music, which is great. It's a really good fit for me. However, I want to do something a little bit more challenging. I want to get outside of my own box a little bit. So I'm thinking of focusing on a late 60s design style, kind of similar to what I did with the Mandy Moore poster, and then also the Apollo 13 poster. But I still want to make it uniquely Forrest Gump. I've got a couple of ideas, so let's head over to Illustrator. Okay, so this movie very much represents like Americana. So I'm thinking a red, white, and blue color palette, and I've already got a couple of ideas. Let me go ahead and grab a color palette from Google. I'm going to be looking for a vintage color palette. I don't want to quite go all the way back to like the 17 or 1800s or anything, but I do think that this one would work very well. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this one, if I can navigate my own computer. Copy the image, and then paste it into Illustrator here. So I think for the background, we'll just do something like this. I like that a lot better. And then let's lay out our colors. There's our red, there's our blue, and then we'll do like an accent of this lighter blue right here. And then I'm gonna add in like a really, really light version of white, but make it kind of a little bit more like on the cream side. So let's just add a little bit of saturation there. All right, that's looking good. And then we can just get rid of this. All right, so these are the colors that we're gonna be using. And as far as the typography goes, I'm thinking either Helvetica or 20th Century. 20th Century is a great font, very versatile, and definitely speaks of the time period. But Helvetica could work as well. So I think I'm gonna put together like a simple layout here and then figure out what to do from there. And also, Forrest Gump's favorite book is Curious George. So I really like this image right here, and I think that we'll try to, I'm going to make a copy of it on this side and maybe try some effects here, maybe like an image trace, and just kind of see how it goes. But if we need to use the actual image once we get to Photoshop, then that's fine too. So I really do like the way that this is shaping up in image trace here. The threshold's a little high, so let's bring that back a little bit. All right, so I think that 120 is really good, and we'll go ahead and expand this. Grab our magic wand and select all the white, and then just delete it. So I'm thinking of like an old 1960s book cover or something like that. So I like that nice bright red that's right there. And for something like this, we'll go pretty high with the size. And I'm gonna go ahead and kern this. And then we'll adjust the leading right here. It needs to be probably around here, I think. And then as far as the illustration goes, I'd like to balance it out with that blue. So this right here would be as if we have 2 inches of margin on both sides, so 4 inches total. And then I'm just gonna divide that by 2 and just kind of see how that looks. I like the simplicity of that, and I like the balance of the large type with the small illustration of Curious George. But I think what I'm probably going to do here is center everything. It's very similar to what you would see, and it's also very similar to the Curious George books where the title is actually centered right here. So I may even mimic that, actually. So I may do something like this. That's interesting right there, how it kind of sits behind there, but that's not really the style that we're going for, but that's always something that you could easily do. All right, so we have our type nice and kerned out and everything, so I'm going to do something like this, where we put this down at the bottom, and then we'll back it off by about 2 inches or so. So it was kind of already heading this direction, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. I'm just gonna mimic the cover of the Curious George books. So we'll just color drop this right here. And I actually think that well, maybe I'll change this to like brown or something. Just kind of see how that looks. Okay, that looks really cool. I like that a lot. So as you can see here, there are different covers. Sometimes the text is in red, sometimes it's in blue. I think I'm gonna go with red though, because I'm pretty sure in that time period, it was all in red. So let's establish our sizing right here across the top, and then we will add a drop shadow there in just a second. So let's get this about in place there. So the font size there is about 184. So we will do about half that for the Robert Zemeckis film. And then we'll still use 20th Century here at the bottom for the cast. Tom Hans. And then we'll stick this at the bottom, and then we'll go a lot smaller with that. All right, that's looking good right there. All right, so let's go in here and add these drop shadows, and we'll do that by going to the appearance panel right here. There's all kinds of different ways you can add drop shadows, but this is the way that I prefer to do it, and we'll put no blur on it. All right, that's looking good, and we'll do the same thing here. If I were an actual illustrator, I'd probably draw something for this, but I can't draw to save my life. That's why I became a graphic designer. All right, so very simple design here. Let's go ahead and pull this into Photoshop and add some effects to it to make it look old. I was just going through all of my effects in my design resources files, and I realized that I need to get more cardboard stuff. All right, so that works out just about perfectly. So we'll go ahead and cover that up right there, and then we're just gonna use blending modes to make it look older. You still wanna make sure that you retain the yellow on the cover right there. So this looks good right here, this hard light. That's probably the first best option that we have, although let's take a look at some other stuff. Vivid light is also good because we're still maintaining our colors there, but it's still nice and subtle. Linear light is a little bit more obvious with its aging, but it's still helping us to retain our colors there. And pen light here is probably going to be my favorite because it's helping to really give it an aged look. But my personal rule is I go all the way to the bottom to find out if there's anything better. All right, so pen light is going to be what I end up going with. And just to add a little bit more of a vintage look to it, so we're going to add some grain right here. Let's take it all the way up to 100. And then the size and roughness, we'll just leave at 25. Actually, we'll turn the roughness up to 50. Okay, that's better. Yeah, there we go. And then obviously we need to use our Gaussian blur because the printing process here would not have been super clean. All right, and it's looking good. Here is our Forrest Gump Curious George movie poster / book cover. All right, I really like this a lot. This does a really good job of alluding to the film. However, you'd almost have to be a diehard Forrest Gump fan to get the Curious George reference, but that's also kind of what I like about this poster. And that cardboard layer is really doing its job there, making it look like it's old and beat up and everything. If I were gonna do this again, I'd probably add like a little spine right here, like to show the creases. I think that would be a really cool look. But I'm just gonna call this one done. All right, well, thanks a lot for watching me make that Forrest Gump poster. That was fun, and it's also one of my favorite movies from the 90s. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. It's a must watch. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe at the bottom and click the bell for notifications to be notified of all future content. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.